Hello everyone, welcome to another Sillytails Reviews. Today we're talking about the first Berzerker Khazan. This review was captured on the PS5 Pro and will be 100% spoiler free. The first Berzerker Khazan knows exactly what it wants to be and does not waste your time getting right into it. It is a Souls-like in the DNF universe with absolutely stunning graphics, even more gorgeous cutscenes, and a fantastic voice cast led by Ben Starr. Can it stand out though in a sea of competitors? The story of the first Berzerker, like most Souls-likes, is a bit convoluted and hard to grasp. You play as the titular General Khazan and start the game off imprisoned. Very quickly, a phantom possesses you and gives you the power and strength you need to go on a long journey of revenge to those who wrongfully imprisoned you. You will meet so many characters along the way that all know of Khazan or are his friends. I do not think even a week from now I will remember any of their names. Maybe if you are knowledgeable about the DNF universe, this game's story would be more intriguing to you, but for me, I just enjoyed watching the cutscenes play out and tried to understand as much as I could. Truly though, who comes to one of these types of games for the story? Let us talk about combat and gameplay. Combat is the main focus of this game. You almost will not go a single minute while in a stage without swinging your weapon. Thankfully, the combat feels fantastic and has a good bit of variety to it. You have three weapon choices: dual swords, a giant sword, or a spear, which was my weapon of choice. All three weapons have an associated skill tree that really alters how you play the game. Take the spear for example. As I leveled up and gained skill points, I went from throwing out a few jabs in a 3-hit combo to triple dodging, having after image attacks, and having stamina consuming attacks that did devastating damage. Dozens of people could play this game and have a completely different combat experience. The skill tree really has that much variation to it. Besides the three main weapons of the game, you also will gain a phantom ability that acts as Devil Trigger mode, and you will go berserk, killing everything in your path. Every enemy has a stamina bar under their health bar, and when you deplete it, you can land a devastating blow that is always super flashy and usually will finish off the enemy unless they are a boss. While on the topic of bosses, they are all super fantastic. It is your standard fare of grotesque creatures, dragons, and way too powerful humans. But all of the main bosses feel super unique and have great patterns to learn and overcome. Big shout out to the final boss for having a Final Fantasy inspired design. All of this fighting and killing gives you the souls of the game called Lacrima. You will use a sword buried in the ground that acts as the bonfires here to level up one of 6 stats. Each weapon has an associated stat, and there is also vitality and strength for health and carrying capacity. I never felt the need to grind out levels and thought the leveling up was very easy to understand and simple. Same as the gear in the game. There are a lot of different sets of gear, but each one does a good job of letting you know which weapon it is suited for. For me, the absolute worst part of the game was how frequently the gear dropped. It was almost as bad as a Diablo-style ARPG. I love those kind of games, and that gear system is super well suited for those kind of games, but in a Souls-like, I thought it was way too much. I was in my menus almost as much as I was playing the game, and I just hate that. It was easy for me to figure out which gear to equip and would be the most beneficial, but it was so annoying having to go back to the hub area and dispose of it. The hub area is called the Crevice, and eventually you'll bring back a merchant, blacksmith, and enchanter. The blacksmith lets you break down all of the items you find for crafting materials, and the merchant you can sell items to for gold. The enchanter was the best part of the game though, because you can just dispose of all your junk for Lacrima, and level up a whole bunch. In my entire playthrough, I did not need a single piece of gold or crafting material, so it was extremely unfortunate that you found so many materials and gold and had absolutely no use for them. You could buy like one-use potions and even gear. You could also craft whole sets of gear, but the game gives you so many of these items at such a fast pace that there was truly no reason to ever. The other part of the game I want to talk about is the level design. This game has some truly amazing places to fight your way through, and even though there was not much to find in all of its corridors and secrets, it still was fun to scour every location and see all this game had to offer. There is a plethora of chests and loot to find, but there are two main collectibles you want to keep your eye out for. The first one is Soul Stones. Usually 4 or 5 are hidden in a level. After finding and breaking 6 of these, you will get a permanent 2% buff to either health or lacrima gain. The other main collectible is called Jarlings, and these were my favorite part of the whole game. The game is so dark and serious and has absolutely no levity whatsoever except for the Jarlings. Super out of place, adorable little jar creatures. You will find a few hidden in jars on every level, and the more you find and rescue, you can then go back to the jar merchant in the crevice and he will sell you useful lanterns and helmets that are hilarious. After every main story mission, you would go back to the crevice and talk to all your companions to unlock side missions. These always were much shorter levels that added a lot of lore to the game and had some really fun side bosses. Back to the level design though, my god, were some places breathtaking. In the beginning of the game, you'd be fighting through snowy mountains and yes, even a poison swamp. As the game progressed though, you would find yourself in these gorgeous cathedrals and devastated cities. I cannot overstate enough how the art direction on display here was the main thing keeping me going. This is a very hard game to recommend to someone. It is very well made and polished, but going back to the question I asked at the top of this review, can it stand out amongst its competitors? The answer is sadly no. The game market grows bigger every year, and everyone has a massive backlog they try to work their way through. If you only have time for 1 or 2 Souls-likes a year, you without a doubt should pick up Sekiro, Lies of P, Black Myth Wukong, or Elden Ring. Khazan is such a good game, but why play a good game when you can play a great game? If you have already beaten those other games and still have an itch you can't seem to scratch, absolutely pick up Khazan, and I do not think you will be disappointed in it. My final score for this game, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. The pros are the level design, the combat, and the gear sets. The cons, way too much loot. It doesn't really do anything different, and for me, it was way too easy. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. If you like what I did here, please consider subscribing, and I hope you all have a great day.